It may have puzzled certain readers when I said my friend hoped by this festival to get my output at long last into the mainstream. But aren't you in the mainstream now, such a one might ask? Well, it's a queer business, because I have conducted my own operas and love sheepdogs, because I generally dress in tweeds, and sometimes at winter afternoon concerts have even conducted in them, because I was a militant suffragette and seized a chance of beating time to the March of the Women from the window of my cell in Holloway Prison with a toothbrush, because I have written books, spoken speeches, broadcast, and don't always make sure that my hat is on straight. For these and equally pertinent reasons, in a certain sense, I'm well known. If I buy a pair of boots in London and not having money enough, produce an envelope with my name, the parcel is pressed into my hand. We want no reference in your case, madam. This is celebrity indeed, or shall we say notoriety. But it does not alter the fact that after having been on the job, so to speak, for over 40 years, I have never yet succeeded in becoming even a tiny wheel in the English music machine. Nor did this fantastic latter-day notoriety even pave the way, that much it really might have done, to inclusion in programme schemes. Today, when, as a beautiful phrase of T.S. Eliot puts it, age and forgetfulness have sweetened memory, it is possible, without one single grain of animus, to examine the cause of what Bret Harte calls this thusness. Discussing the situation, which my powerful friend hoped the festival might modify, one sympathetic and highly intelligent well-wisher, Constant Lambert, ascribed it to my having taken to opera and concentrated on Germany. Luckily for Mr. Lambert, he and most of the younger men who count in music today were not even in their cradles in the 90s. But not till I had knocked my knuckles raw on the closed doors of England's concert halls did my eyes swerve back again across the channel. For I have always loved England as passionately as I do today, when patriotism is at a discount, and well it may be, seeing what has been done in its name. Now it may be said that hundreds of artists are called on to endure the like, but in my case was a heartening element no man has to cope with, that only men of great imaginative power and intellectual integrity can picture to themselves. An instinct borne out later by our struggles for the suffrage, which J.S. Mill believed to be won in 1860. That given my sex, my foreign musical education, and the conditions of English music life as I was coming to know them, if I were ever to win through at all, it would not be till I had one leg in the grave. And there I was, crotchets and quavers racing round and round in my head like mice in a barn, seething with musical desire, and knowing that unless a composer tried out his work in public, he is like a painter who should paint in the cellar. I believed I had something to say, but as far as my countrymen went, was seemingly alone in that opinion. Then I revisited haunts in Germany, where years ago I had been considered a promising neophyte, bringing with me two ripe works, the Mass and the pianoforte score of a 3-act opera. I will not elaborate the effect produced, beyond saying that if I had ever lacked self-confidence, that little composer's tour would have made good the deficiency. Nonetheless, of those foreign performances of the Mass, believed to me to be as certain as the arrival of Christmas, not one materialized. And in such cases, the reasons, as reported by my faithful friends on the spot, were the same. 1, my sex. 2, the fact that apparently I was quite unknown in England. Checkmate. The difficulty has been that from the very first, for some reason or other, what I call the machine was against me. If you ask me, what is the machine? I can only answer, I don't know. But apparently it is a complex construction made up, say, of units from every section of our music life. Heads of musical colleges, leading publishers, dominant members of music committees throughout the country, the press, and so on. Of course, this is the wildest guesswork, but though the notions of its spirit are so veiled and mysterious that to try and follow them makes you giddy, once you are up against it, there is no doubting its existence. Meanwhile, it amuses me to think that someday, my death, after my death, when all traces of sex have been reduced to ashes at the Woking crematorium, so handy, someone will very likely take me up as a stunt. No extravagant assumption, seeing what subjects attain stunt rank in these days. Then, together with the assembling of my musical remains, this annex will be available, and the stunt raiser, lifting his eyebrows, can either burst out laughing, "Oh come, you can't put that across in England," or he can have those pages made into a fan, and therefore fan the flame of the stunt. And thus someday I may make friends musically with those I cannot get at in my lifetime.